Hello, everybody. My name is Ratnos. We've had a lot of news coming out over the past couple of days, many of which has been in my previous videos, my last few videos, but a lot of extra posts happened and didn't go into those videos. Some of those are updates to them, so I figured I would make one kind of mega video of all the posts that, not all the posts, there are more posts on Wowhead that I didn't include in this, but we're going to start off with some updates, some changes to live, and then we'll move on to sort of a long run of data mined or announced rewards like cosmetics and titles and stuff like that in the next season. And also no weekly vault video this week because I will be out of town for Christmas. Okay, so up first, actually, let's move my face over to the other side for this. It's usually better when we're doing these kind of videos. Okay, up first, the catalyst charges. If you watched my video on the patch notes, which, by the way, if you're interested in more content, I've got a long video about the patch notes, a long video about the set bonuses, and I'll link them in the description below as well. So if you want more content to put on your second monitor and not listen to, that is available there. But in that, they initially said each of the feats of strength awards a catalyst charge, and I was pretty excited about that because for me personally, that would be potentially mean that I would be doing less splits, which would make me happy. Obviously, a pretty small set of the player base that's the takeaway from this. But it turns out that was just a typo, or not even necessarily a typo, but just the word each here was not. There's a little bit ambiguous there, and they've clarified to mean that it's only one of these. So it's just like before, except instead of getting an Omni token, you get a catalyst charge from these feats of strength, which in some cases is a nerf, right? Like if you were using the flexibility of the Omni token to buy yourself a piece in that slot and fill out the last slot you needed, that was often really nice, and that was something that the Omni token could come in clutch for. On the other hand, this is a buff in the sense of if you have myth track pieces, then this is better because now you can catalyze one of them with this charge. So it depends a little bit on whether this is going to be a buff or a nerf for you. I mean, the section of the player base that's earning Keystone Master 1600 or AOTC early in the patch, a lot of those players do get access to myth track gear fairly early on, although tanks and healers maybe not as much. So yeah, again, it depends. I would say this, I classify this as probably a quality of life nerf in a lot of cases, probably a power level buff for a lot of players, though. In some cases, it's kind of like eventually, though. Maybe you'll be weaker for a week until you actually find something to catalyze. But, I mean, worst case, you catalyze some hero track pieces. If you're getting KSM, you're farming stuff that drops hero track. If you're getting AOTC, you're doing stuff that drops hero track, right? And if you're doing the PvP side of things, then maybe you're a PvPer and you don't care about the PvE track that these pieces of gear are on. So I'm not as doomer on this as a lot of the discourse I've seen, but certainly there were times where it was really nice to get that Omni token, and you're just like, I've never dropped a helmet on this character, and now I can just take a hero track helmet using the Omni token, and that going away is it's going to be a quality of life nerf, especially if you are unlucky. Okay, we've also had some hotfixes come in. Tank threat have been buffed, and across the board, all tanks have gained 22% threat. So now they have an 815% increased threat aura. Although next patch, when Aug Evoker doesn't buff them anymore, maybe that kind of roughly cancels out. So I don't know, but at least right now it's going to be nice to drop threat a little bit less easily, because these numbers seem big, but depending on the specs you're playing with, some specs do so much burst at the start of a pull, and some tanks have pretty weak openers in terms of generating initial threat. So this is very welcome. I think tank threat in general, there are way more times where you're losing threat despite doing all the right things than there should be right now. And yeah, I'm glad to see him move a bit in this direction. Okay, also, I made a video about the Cyrce Circlet, getting all your gems. It's worth noting that some players are reporting a bug with the Shuddering Hollow event. So sometimes you don't get your gems, sometimes you need to kill the boss very quickly, or something. But yeah, basically, hopefully this gets fixed soon. But if you're wondering why you haven't been able to get all 12 of your gems and you've been farming all the events and stuff, like I said you're supposed to, this is probably why. So either keep at it, maybe try and hop onto a shard where it's really active and these things dying really fast, because that at least for me, I didn't run into this. So it's definitely not like a bug for everybody, but that is something to be aware of. That's been what's happening there. Okay, we're moving into the rewards, cosmetics, stuff like that. So, big roundup of this different stuff coming in mostly in the new patch. So, NVIDIA has revealed the Armored Bloodwing mount, which was an in-game shop. It was removed from the in-game shop. It was also a Prime Gaming mount, but if you didn't get it from any of those sources, you can also now get it from NVIDIA GeForce LAN missions, which, yeah, I'll have links to all these Wowhead posts in the comments below, so go find this post if you want to actually, but obviously just, you could Google that and get yourself this potentially cool mount if you like it, and if you didn't pick it up from the previous couple of opportunities you had to get it. There are also some new Hunters pets. So this is live. This is not next patch, but there are some new Hunters pets that you can pick up on the Siren's Isle. So some of these actually look pretty cool. I usually, this was the post, I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. This was the post that was the closest to not getting included in this video. But I thought this purple parrot actually looked really sick. So I think if you're a hunter, this one's probably really good. The bird also pretty cool. Okay, we have some new models for Ethereals in the upcoming patch, which another post that nearly didn't get included in this video, but I decided, you know what? It's Christmas. Let's give a couple of extra posts in this video. So here's a bunch of new Ethereal models coming in the new patch. Actually, I think this is just one model, and they're just showcasing it with a bunch of different armor on, maybe? Yeah. Oh, Shadow Guard Ethereal models. Okay, yeah, different colored bandages and armor sets. No, these are actually just a bunch of different Ethereals with these different armor sets on. So definitely a strong Ethereal sub-theme coming in the new patch, which is pretty cool. Ethereals and Goblins have some flavor overlap, which is pretty cool. And Ethereals obviously we saw Kaiveza in Nerebar Palace, so they're involved with the, War Within World Soul Saga story. Pretty cool. There's also been some new raid weapon models that have been data mined, which these actually look really cool. So this is a two-handed axe. This is a bow. This is a gun. The gun actually, this type of aesthetic has been used for a lot of guns, but I don't think you've ever seen it on like a warglaive before. Like this looks super sick, like a steampunk warglaive. Fist weapon that is like a shark mouth holding a bomb that you punch people with. Some daggers. Daggers are kind of whatever, in my opinion. The maces, pretty sick. I like this one as well. Two-handed maces. This space, actually, there's been a few maces that look like this, I think. Some polearms as well. Some shields. These shields actually look really cool. I like the bright-colored ones. Some staves. Some two-handed swords with some fire, like a flamethrower sword. Awesome. Extremely cool. And some offhands as well that usually you don't see a lot of offhands these days. A lot of people wearing two-handers, but you never know. So those are some of the things in the new patch. There's also been a preview of the January 2025 trading post item, the Brilliant Sunburst Peafowl, which is this extremely colorful mount. There's also a little wind-up woofy companion, and then steam-powered golden cloak, I think, is this thing here. And then we've got some green clockwork attire, this hammer, this dynamite thing, which the dynamite thing looks like it's an offhand appearance. Pretty cool. So yeah, these are all coming in the new patch. I guess there's this big Blizzard post where they talk about all these. Yeah, okay, so this is definitely what all of those were. Okay, there's also some new outdoor weapons. Outdoor weapons, historically, less cool than the raid weapons. This time around, I'm actually not so sure. So some of these definitely look really cool. These axes, the daggers, actually the dagger being like a little drill thing, that's kind of cool. They say firearms, so maybe these are crossbows or maybe guns, but pretty cool looking guns as well. Some warglaives that I think also look pretty cool. Again, these are like Wowhead rockets or goblin rockets, being dynamite fused on there. Yeah, I think this is an incredibly cool look there. Maces that are just like bombs on a stick. Phenomenal. Some offhands that look like just kind of grenades. Polearms, shields, staves again, one-handers with some lights, but like lights and a magnet, so maybe these are like electrified. Yeah, there's a battery. So like an electrified sword. Okay, that's kind of cool. And some wands that, yeah, this is for casting some non-magic missile at people if you need to. Okay, then we've got some new mounts. We have the Violet Armored Growler, which you can buy just with Resonance Crystals. The Crimson Armored Growler, which you can also buy with Resonance Crystals. The Salvaged Goblin Gazillionaire's Flying Machine, which drops from the Galagio Garbage. So I don't know exactly what that is, but maybe this is just like a random raid drop or something. Or I guess it's Undermine. It drops in the Undermine zone. Maybe not the raid. Not sure. Then we've got Mean Green Flying Machine. Okay, so same model, different color. This one's bought with Resonance Crystals. We've got a Goblin, shredding machine, Blackwater Shredder, also Resonance Crystals. A green version of that as well, which drops from Gunk Covered Thingy, whatever that is. A rocket, recolor of a very popular rocket model, I think. Is this the Love in the Air rocket? Or maybe it's one of the other ones, but either way, you can get it with Resonance Crystals. So hoard your Resonance Crystals is the TLDR here. There's a lot of good mounts to get with Resonance Crystals. There's the same delivery rocket, recolor of that. A Wave Shredder for that as well, which I think this is a recolor of a Trading Post mount that came out a couple months ago, I think. Then we have Glory of the Undermine Raider. This is pretty cool. Magneto Mech. The Prototype ASMR, which drops from Gallywix. I think this is the non-mythic drop, so this is just the random chance drop that drops from Gallywix. Look at this thing. It's called the ASMR as well. It's pretty funny. And then the Big G, which drops from Gallywix on Mythic, which is just a big old Gallywix face with a cigar in it. Extremely cool. Here is the Keystone Master Mount. Shockingly, not a recolor of the Season 1 Keystone Master Mount. Actually, extremely cool mount. So very cool to see there. And then here is a Delve mount, the Delver's Gobtrotter. Then we have some PvP mounts, the Vicious Electro Eel, and I guess these are the two different ones, the Horde and Alliance version, and the Prized Gladiator's Fell Bat, which that one's a lot less cool than these Electro Eels. And then there are some Trading Post mounts that will be coming in future Trading Post months, perhaps. Or at least they're... So the thing is, when these are data mined, they have the source from the mount journal, but these do sometimes change between when they're data mined and when they come live. But probably these are going to be some Trading Post mounts, some Dark Moon Fair themed ones. 4 different ones, all sourced from the Trading Post. I wonder if those will be different months or the same month or what. Then a butterfly, a different butterfly, a different butterfly, a different butterfly, a snail, a Shimmer Mist Freerunner, which looks an awful lot like a Shadowlands unicorn thing. And then an unknown source is this unstable rocket as well. So a bunch of cool new mounts coming in the new patch. Here we have some titles coming in Season 2. So Trade Duke and Darkfuse Diplomat come from Reputation. Skyrocketer and Breaknecker come from Skyrocketing and Breaknecking, which are... I don't know what skyrocketing is, but that sounds like dragon riding, but in a rocket. Maybe with less control, something like that. That could be fun. And then breaknecking, I think, is presumably going to be the driving version of dragon riding races. Then Delve titles, we have the Real Deal for the new version of Zekvir on the harder difficulty. We have High Explorer for doing a tier 11 with lives remaining. Delver, 500 delves, and Infinite Delver, 1,000 delves. We have the Real Deal, which is... it's rare to see this. It's a title from a specific raid boss achievement. Usually these don't give any rewards and they're just wrapped into the glory achievement. But yeah, defeat the one-armed bandit after activating all 4 chip defense machines in Liberation of Undermine on normal or higher. Junk Maestro, Junk Maestro, which is garbage in, garbage out. It's another achievement that is, I would assume this is part of the glory achievement. Liberator of Undermine, Mythic King, Chrome King, and Fame Slayer, the Chrome King. Very cool. These are Liberator of Undermine, is whatever. Fame Slayer, the Chrome King. That's a pretty cool one. Mythic Plus titles, the Enterprising and the Enterprising Hero next season. PvP title, Prized Legend, Prized Marshal, Prized Warlord, and Prized Gladiator. And then we have a couple of other ones. High Roller and the Explosive, we don't know what those come from. Part Timer comes from Chetmate, where you turn in 100 completed chat lists or become Employee of the Month. Or an Employee of the Month is likely a temporary title from Employee of the Month. Yeah, don't know. So this is presumably some kind of outdoor world. My guess is this is something along the lines of the world events in the other 4 zones, right? Like the theater troupe or the pact stuff in Ashgahat, or I don't know, the dirt or the Hallowfall farm stuff. I don't know, something like that would be my guess. Okay, yeah, we saw this already, the Keystone Master Mount. There's also been some camp data, or camp screens data mined. So this is, again, for those who didn't see in the patch notes, you're going to have more options than just the default campfire to have as your Warband hangout place, including you can have different camp groups, maybe in different places. So if you have more than 4 characters and you want to have them all hanging out in different places, it looks like they're getting ready to launch with one in the Nightfall Sanctum with the Delve with the airship, one here in presumably the Galagio, one out in Isle of Dorn, and one... This one kind of looks Dragonflighty. This looks like Onaran Plains E. And then the random button, so you could maybe randomize it, which I will presumably do. And yeah, very cool. So that's this Warband groups thing. I think this is a feature that everybody kind of knew was coming, and we're glad to see it sooner rather than later with the Warbands, screen on game launch. Here's the Mythic Galliwix mount. Okay, so I shouldn't have opened these tabs because, those were all in the big mount post. And then here's a post about how many Flame Blessed Iron you need if you want all the cosmetics from patch 11.0.7. So if you want every single cosmetic, it's 81,350, which sounds like a lot. It's actually not that many. You can get a few thousand, I think, pretty quickly. And the weeklies give a couple hundred. And again, you probably don't need all of this. But if you want like just the mount, there's a mount for 10,000, some ensembles, and then a bunch of cosmetics, some recolors of some other cosmetics. So a lot of this stuff you could skip if you didn't want it. But there are some pretty cool transmogs and stuff available here. So yeah, that's the full list. If you were interested in doing some fun, tiny island farming stuff, you may want to wait. I think we'll be able to fly on this island in a few weeks' time, so a month or something. Some amount of time, I think we're going to be able to remove the no flight restriction on the island. So that might be an easier time to pick this up. Although doing it now while everybody's there also might be the best. You could just camp the spots where everybody's getting their gems from and get, it'll still take a long time to get 81,000, but yeah. And I think that, oh wait, no, that's not it. We've got all the tier set models. So this is pretty cool. Let's start off with Death Knight. We have the DK ones, including, I think this will probably be the Mythic one if I had to guess. Looks pretty sweet, very Death Knight. The Demon Hunter ones. Also, I'm less of a fan of these as a set, although I think these shoulders could port pretty easily into some good mogs. I hate these kind of like open trench coat things, like half skirt or whatever, back pant things. So I probably won't use the rest of this, but the shoulders are pretty cool. The helmet as well, maybe. Then the Druid set here. One of these weird kind of asymmetrical ones with the helmet not being symmetrical. Cool shoulders though, like wolf shoulders. The Evoker set, which is extremely cool, but unfortunately Evokers are always in dragon form, so that's a shame there. Here's what it looks like in stupid dragon form. Obviously, extremely ugly. Hunter, very aggressive, like blood mist effect here on, again, what I assume is the mythic version of these, so pretty sweet. Mage, this is a different sort of silhouette here. I think it looks goofy, but I do think part of that is that it's on a human male, and they have the most... Like, they have the idle animation that I think looks the goofiest with this kind of thing. So I think this could maybe look good on, like, a troll or something. Not sure. Monk. Got a very cool helmet thing going on here. The shoulders I'm less of a fan of, but the helmet, extremely cool. Paladin set bonus here. Or Paladin ones here, which... I think the thing about the Paladin one that I like a lot is that this seems pretty interchangeable with a lot of the like Dragonflight plate mogs that you could get. Like adding these pieces in and then mixing and matching, I think, is extremely doable, especially this one with like the mythic colors from that expansion. So that'd be pretty sweet. Priest, I think this is an extremely cool like helmet thing. Again, I don't like it on the human male form, but I think this will look pretty cool on some other ones. Unfortunately, my priest is a goblin, so looking good is not really on the cards for that character. Rogue, extremely cool, you know, pirate, death skull thing going on. Shaman one a little goofy looking, I'd say. I think this red color, which I guess is probably the normal coloration, is the one that I like the most out of those. Warlock, the Warlock one is, I think, extremely good. Problem with Warlock is you have too many good transmogs already, but this definitely, I think, fits in. Again, an asymmetrical helmet, sort of like the Druid one. But all of these colors I could see being really cool. And then the PvP ones as well. And then the Warrior one of the most, again, like generic warrior-y looking things out there. But good potential to mix and match again with previous seasons of warrior tier sets, which is nice. And actually, I think this is still a pretty cool aesthetic. Maybe the cloak notwithstanding. Not sure I'm a big fan of this cloak. So those are the tier set visuals. Of course, if you want to see me talk about the actual tier set bonuses, there's a video for that is linked in the description below. And that's it. I've tabbed back to the first post we looked at here. So nice little roundup of the things that have been going on. Next video is probably in like a week or so, whenever I'm back from Christmas and stuff. So yeah, have a good, holidays, whatever you celebrate, if you're celebrating anything. And if not, also, stay warm, stay safe out there. I will see you next time there's something to make a video about. Later.